And of course there is that horrendous breaking news that a British national has been caught up and has died in what has happened in Israel as well. That is the breaking news in the last few minutes in regard to Nathanel Young, British man serving in the Israeli army, killed in the Hamas attack. He's 20 years old, corporal in the Israeli army from London, the 13th Battalion in the Israeli Defence Forces. He lived in Tel Aviv and he has died. There are, of course, hundreds of people on both sides of this conference, on both sides of this conflict, I should say, who have died both on the Palestinian side and indeed on the Israeli side. And I will shed no tears for Hamas terrorists who died or are targeted by the Israelis, but I do think it is horrendous that there are civilians on both sides who are caught up in this. And I did ask the Israeli ambassador earlier on what the measures are in place to try to make sure that as few Palestinian civilians as possible are killed by the Israeli military, ideally zero. Inna Lazareva was with us earlier and is now back, journalist in Tel Aviv. Inna, great to have you back on the programme. This is just developing hour by hour, and we've seen, for us in the UK, there will be many people very, very sad, of course, that Nathanel Young, the 20-year-old corporal, from London, soldier in the 13th Battalion, has been killed. So this isn't just about Israelis and Palestinians. This is effects in many parts of the world. But just tell us, just update us in terms of what's been happening in the last couple of hours since we spoke the last time, Inna.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's not just Israelis and Palestinians, Brits, there's a German national, there are others. I understand there are babies who've been kidnapped, young children alongside adult men and women who've been taken into Gaza as hostages. We don't know what's happened with them. Right now, the casualty figures are climbing up and up. The rocket attacks continue, the fighting continues. It seems to be a resolution of this doesn't seem to be on anyone's agenda at this point in time. So people are still afraid to go out, are still barricaded inside the homes. Schools and kindergartens are still closed. Life is standstill. People are in shops trying to stock up in case the situation actually deteriorates and gets worse.
So those shops would normally be open on a Sunday, isn't it? Saturday is the Sabbath, of course. So Sunday is actually sort of your version often of a Saturday here in the UK for many people. Not everybody, but for many people.
Sunday is like Monday here.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. So you go out to the shops, you go to school, you get things done underway, but actually life is just at a standstill.
Yeah, complete standstill, and more than that, many families, their children have been called up to serve in the reserves. Others are dealing with friends and family who are missing. I spent this morning talking to people who, for instance, one man was at the party, the nature party, which from where many people were shot dead by Hamas gunmen. He told me he managed to escape in his car just by the skin of his teeth, and as he was driving away in the car, two people climbed onto the roof of his car. 3 people sat in the front seat. 6 people crammed into the back seat, just trying to get away as quickly as possible as they could from the scene. Others I spoke to, they are in tears. They are going from hospital to hospital, holding pictures of their loved ones, showing them to doctors and patients. They're saying, "Have you seen this person?" Desperate to find any news they can of their loved ones.
It's a desperate situation, isn't it? Do you see any way out of this, or is there just more violence and bloodshed ahead?
I'm sorry to be so bleak, but at the moment there doesn't seem to be a single ray of hope. If anything, the situation couldn't get worse. As I mentioned this morning, there have been some exchanges of rockets in the north between Israel and Hezbollah. Hezbollah launched a mortar shell. Israel reacted. Then Hezbollah went into Israeli territory and set up a tent that it had set up there previously. If things get out of hand on that front, we could be seeing something even worse than this.
Yeah. Okay, well, listen, stay safe, and I know I expect we'll continue to talk to one another here on talkTV. Thank you, Inna, and all the very best to everybody in that region. Inna Lazareva is a journalist in Tel Aviv, so thank you to her.